Hello and welcome everybody to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. Today I'm going to be casting for you a ZVT on Shakuras Plateau. Spawning here in the top left position as the blue Zerg, we have aAaNerchio. Spawning here in the top right position of Shakuras Plateau as the red Terran, we have mouzMorroW. Now, this is going to be the first game in a best of 3. This best of 3 was played this week in the Gigabyte Cup. If you guys don't know anything about the Gigabyte Cup, it is a European tournament, and that's probably why you don't know about it. But it's a European tournament that is played once a week for I think it's 100 euros, 100 pounds. I forget. It's one of those two. It's either euros or pounds. There is a difference between the two, but I don't remember which one it is. It's one of those two. But anyway, on a completely separate note, I didn't get any uploads yesterday at all, and my sincerest apologies for not getting any uploads yesterday. The reason was because yesterday I actually came home from work and I had to cast my first ever live series. I casted an entire best of 7 live tournament last night for the StarCraft 2 Amateur Team League Season 2 tournament. It was just pretty epic. I don't know what I was gonna say there. I tried to combine epic and amazing, but it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. I have never casted anything live before. I was horribly nervous, super nervous to cast that best of 7, but it was a whole lot of fun. Really enjoyed doing it, and I'm going to be casting it again on this Thursday. This Thursday, that is going to be September 22nd, and that is going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So yeah, if you're around and you feel like tuning in, check that out, please. It will be on my own Twitch TV channel. That is going to be twitch.tv/ oh my god, what is it? /GetGlitched. Yeah, that's right. It's not GLiTCHStarCraft on my Twitch TV account. It's one that I had quite a ways and a while ago. Now, I should be jumping right into this game right now because we do have some early aggression here coming out of mouzMorroW. mouzMorroW has managed to throw up a few Marines. He's pulling a bunch of SCVs now to come put some pressure here at the front of the base of aAaNerchio. aAaNerchio does have a Spine Crawler going up at his natural expansion right now, but it is not going to be up here in time, and there is the bunker now going down here for mouzMorroW. aAaNerchio now pulling a whole lot of drones here to try to deal with this. Some of those drones, well, actually all those drones right now are going to chase down those Marines, trying to get a good surround right now, and a lot of drones are going right down right now. There are some Zerglings that are up right now for aAaNerchio. aAaNerchio did go pool first this game, so we did see those early Zerglings coming out. This is exactly why a lot of Zerg players these days are starting to go for, pretty much universally going for a pool first, pool before hatch, that is, just because of this kind of bunker pressure. As you can see, it is handled quite nicely there. That spine was a tad bit late there. It is possible to get that up just a little bit earlier, but aAaNerchio able to clean it up just fine. Lost a bunch of drones in the process. Looks like he lost about 9 workers there. But aAaNerchio was able to snipe off 4 workers of his own, and so he is now going to be putting on a little bit of counter pressure here. But I think these Marines here are going to be able to deny too much damage from being done, and aAaNerchio is just going to be pulling back. Looks like on the production tab that we can see that aAaNerchio is just starting to drone up right now. He's going to start to get a little more comfortable and drone right now. He's really low on drones right now. 13 to 11 harvesters at the moment. We do have a command center going down here at the natural expansion for mouzMorroW on Shakuras Plateau. Of course, it is very common to fast expand on this map because you only have to defend one little ramp, and you will be defending both your main and your natural simultaneously. So always something very good to do as any player on this map, really. Very easy to defend, so almost always want to fast expand on this map. Now, aAaNerchio right now, we are seeing him go for a spawning pool right now. He has mined out his gas there. Hasn't started that speed. Started the extractor, actually. Didn't actually mine any gas at all. So does not have that Zergling speed up yet. We'll probably be seeing some drones being transferred into that extractor very soon. Right now, he definitely needs to focus on minerals to try to get more drones up at all of his bases, so that once he gets up a good number of drones, he can get up queens, and then he can start mining on that extractor. He's got to know at this point that his opponent can't be too far ahead. He saw his opponent starting to wall off there at that lower position, I believe. Yeah, he did see those barracks there on that ramp, so he does know that there is most likely a command center here going down for mouzMorroW, so mouzMorroW can't be pushing out with too much forces right now, but as we can see, mouzMorroW is trying to do exactly just that, as he is trying to rally up all of his Marines, as many as he can, and this is actually going to start to look like a very scary push. We do see a second spine now coming down for aAaNerchio, and more drones being produced, a lot of drones being produced, so we actually don't have a whole lot. Well, there is going to be one queen here in time, only one queen though, however. Only 10 Zerglings up at this point, and this is starting to look like a pretty scary push of Marines, to be honest. This is about 12 Marines right now. It looks like they are now pushing in, poking in just a little bit, but it looks like mouzMorroW is going to be discouraged by these 2 Spine Crawlers. Poked up there, saw that there was a good Ling count here, and 2 Spine Crawlers is going to be pretty hard to break for just this many Marines. So he's going to be just pulling back safely, and it looks like aAaNerchio, getting a perfect read on the situation, is just going to continue to produce drones. On the production tab, we're just seeing more drones being produced. He feels very, very confident with that second Spine up there. We do now see gas being mined, and we see that metabolic boost going down for aAaNerchio as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him start to take a third. mouzMorroW being very, very smart with the scout right now, checking on that third expansion to see if any third has gone down. And oh, there's one huge thing that I should be talking about here that I have not mentioned yet. For those of you that haven't already noticed, mouzMorroW is not playing Zerg right now. mouzMorroW is a very, very good Zerg player, but when it comes to playing in ZVZ, he really, really hates the ZVZ matchup, so he does switch it up here. Anytime he has to go up against a Zerg player, if he is allowed to, he plays Terran. Unless in the tournament it is locked in. It is tournament rules sometimes that once you start playing one race, you cannot switch race mid-tournament, but I don't know whether in Gigabyte Cup they just allow players to switch race in between games, or whether mouzMorroW has just been playing the entire tournament this week as Terran. So I'm not sure, but he is definitely playing Terran here. He feels comfortable playing Terran against Zerg. He feels like his Terran versus Zerg game is better than his Zerg versus Zerg game. So that is exactly why we are seeing mouzMorroW playing as Terran in this game. Now we do have a couple of units here controlling the middle watchtowers. We have a split between aAaNerchio controlling the lower watchtower, mouzMorroW controlling the upper watchtower. Now, in this situation, it gives you a slight advantage, not very much of an advantage, to be watching this top Xel'Naga watchtower, just because they did spawn in these positions up here. So he will be able, mouzMorroW that is, will be able to catch some air motion that comes through this middle area. So he does have a tiny, tiny slight advantage. Of course, aAaNerchio not wanting to give that up, wanting to control both watchtowers. Looks like he's sending some Zerglings, but mouzMorroW does not want to let that watchtower go. He's now sending out a big push there to try to take that Xel'Naga watchtower back. Back in the base of mouzMorroW, we do have a factory now up. Siege mode research is currently being researched. Still only 1 barracks right now. Been producing a lot of Marines out of that 1 barracks. No add-on yet, though. On that barracks, we do see some Zerglings here poking into the map there. Of course, that 1 barracks I was talking about is, of course, on top of the 2 barracks that we have at this bottom of the ramp here for mouzMorroW. Does have this one tech lab up that is researching Stimpack. No add-ons yet on the other barracks, so we currently have a 3 racks with 1 factory and 1 starport out for mouzMorroW, and it looks like we are going to be seeing some medevacs here most likely from mouzMorroW. Very common also to start a Viking, and there we go. Yeah, we saw that he started that medevac, but then canceled it and immediately switched to the Viking. The reason for that being, of course, in this matchup, it is very good early on to have at least 1 Viking just moving around the map, getting yourself some early map control, and picking off these overlords that tend to get a little bit out of control there. For those Zerg players, love to have overlords all over the map, watching all those bases, and so having 1 Viking is a good way to really just take away a lot of map control from your opponent. Back here in the base of aAaNerchio, we do have a big roach count actually coming up for aAaNerchio right now. This is not the most common thing for Zergs to do against Terrans. They do it occasionally when their opponent is going for heavy mech here, but it looks like aAaNerchio is going to be choosing to go heavy roach against the forces of mouzMorroW. Not necessarily the worst decision in the world. Roaches don't take that much damage from Marines, so this can be a very strong push here, and I'm actually very, very curious to see how this will end up and whether these roaches will be able to break the Marine siege tank line here of mouzMorroW. aAaNerchio, of course, very, very common in this matchup. One thing to do is to go Banelings. Baneling Muta is generally the standard way of dealing with this Marine siege tank build that mouzMorroW is going for, but right now we can see that aAaNerchio is clearly going for those roaches. We do have that +1 Carapace coming up for those roaches. Glial Reconstitution, that is going to be that roach speed, and we now see an Infestation Pit coming down for aAaNerchio as well. Now, we do have this one Viking that has moved across the map, managed to take out this Overlord that was scouting in this portion of the map, now coming around. Not too many Overlords, actually. I'm surprised right now that aAaNerchio doesn't have a whole lot of Overlords out. Looks like that this Overlord did manage to get saved there, as mouzMorroW did pull back that one Viking. Having a little bit of indecision there as to what exactly he wants to do. Does he know that this third has gone down? Yes, he does know that that third has gone down. Looks like he might have used a scan on it, but we do have a drop there coming for the third. In the meantime, mouzMorroW is going to be expanding to his own third base. This drop is now going to be going up on the high ground here, and looks like aAaNerchio is getting ready to start to have to deal with this attack. He's starting to produce a lot of lings, so we are going to be seeing a Roach Ling composition here from aAaNerchio. In the meantime, these units from mouzMorroW are now stimming in. They're moving down the ramp. Looks like they are going to be starting to focus down that Queen. That Queen is taking a lot of damage. Some drones going down here for mouzMorroW. mouzMorroW now picking off more drones. Lots of drones going off there, and there is the pickup from mouzMorroW, only losing 2 Marines, letting a lot of his Marines get pretty low there. Nice little pickup there by mouzMorroW. And how many drones was he able to take out there? Looks like he was able to take out a few. He lost some workers, aAaNerchio rather, lost some workers early on in that exchange, so it looks like mouzMorroW not able to get a huge number of drones, but aAaNerchio just starting this hatchery. Is he going to get the cancel off on this hatchery? This hatchery is being focused, and no, looks like mouzMorroW is now going to be forced to pick up those Marines, and no, he's just going to let them die, and yeah, looks like he only gets away with 1 Marine there. In the meantime, aAaNerchio continuing to macro up quite a big force. We've got the evolution chamber up right now. +1 carapace is complete. +1 melee attack upgrades is being upgraded right now. Always a smart move because these roaches are going to be up there to take the damage from those Marines and siege tanks, and then you want to bring in the Marines after, especially after 1 volley from those siege tanks, so that these roaches take 1 big massive hit, and then the lings move in to deal the damage and swoop in and surround their opponent. We do now have some infestors here on the field for aAaNerchio, and looks like we're seeing some aggression here from mouzMorroW, as mouzMorroW has finally decided that he is going to be moving in here. We do have a drop here going in this 4th expansion. aAaNerchio being very, very smart here, leaving some units there, and looks like mouzMorroW is going to continue to drop units there, going to be going for a push at the front while he drops in that 4th expansion, forcing all of aAaNerchio's units to be brought down here to this position. Very, very smart play here from mouzMorroW, and aAaNerchio is actually bringing a lot of drones down there to that 4th expansion, so he's actually going to have a lot of drones there for mouzMorroW to clean up, but I think with those few roaches that aAaNerchio has at that 4th base, I think he will be able to deal with that push quite nicely. These siege tanks are just now starting to be leapfrogged in, though. These spine crawlers taking a lot of damage here from these siege tanks, and yes, we do now have fungal growths going down here for aAaNerchio, able to trap all of those Marines in that fungal growth, and I would like to say that this is pre-patch. Now, just today we did get that 1.4 patch down, so the fungal growth damage has now been changed, but that is not for this game. This game, so far, we are still in patch 1.3 here, so these infestors are still the way you remember them. Now, we do have this push coming in here for mouzMorroW, trying to go in, trying to deal some damage here. Will he be able to pick off all these roaches? Looks like, yes, he's going to be able to pick off these roaches, and now move in, and all the forces of aAaNerchio now being forced to pull back to have to deal with this push here. mouzMorroW, though, not moving in right now, still focused on the center army, as all his siege tanks are now moving up into the middle of the map. Lots of damage being dealt here to all these lings that are being rallied in to a little bit of a bad rally there from aAaNerchio. Looks like he does still have a very high infestor count. He could still potentially deal a lot of damage. And here comes the big engagement here for aAaNerchio, taking those siege tanks as they are unsieged. Lots of infested Terrans going down here to absorb siege tank hits. So very smart play there from aAaNerchio. But holy cow, those siege tanks just decimating the unit count of aAaNerchio right now. aAaNerchio trying to bring in more units and deal with this. And it looks like, yes, aAaNerchio is actually going to be able to clean this up. But he did lose a lot of forces to this push. Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually going to be where I'm going to split this replay. We do have some Marines here stimming up into the natural expansion there, but they do get cleaned up there from aAaNerchio. But this isn't to discount mouzMorroW. mouzMorroW is still up in the food count, 148 to 136, and it looks like aAaNerchio is going to be going for a bit of a counterattack here, so we're going to see that in part 2 of Game 1, so don't go anywhere, guys. I'm actually going to split this right here, right now, and we'll see how much damage these lings can do in just a moment.